What's up, guys? Your boy here, your one and only Data Bunny. And in today's video, I'm going to quickly go over how I am using my network engineering lab, right? So this whole entire network lab that I have set up and how I am utilizing it for a BlueTeam cybersecurity lab environment. So I'm going to quickly go over what is physically here and what I'm using. And then there's a video that I recorded earlier last night that actually explains the sinkhole that I created and pretty much what I have going on. So you all are pretty much familiar with this lab from my past videos. So let's break it down. I have a Dell server that is running VMware, and it is utilizing and using BlueTeam tools. I have an attack box, so it's like a jump box. And I have like BlueTeam tools like Nessus, all the different things. I have PRTG running. I got, all types of stuff in there, and I'm going to add some more stuff in it as well. But, like OpenVAS, I got all different types of stuff. So this is the server, right? And this server is connected to a subnet called the server subnet, right? I actually got to rename it. It's called something else, but it's a server subnet. This machine, on the other hand, is running VirtualBox. And in VirtualBox, I have vulnerable machines running on it. So I have like a Windows XP virtual machine running that pretty much is just wide open. And just anyone can come in and infect it. So that's that. And in this machine here, there are two network interface cards being used. This one is going to a vulnerable network. This one is going back to the server network. So logically, how I have these segmented is I already have my regular network, right? But I also created a vulnerable network that is sitting in the FortiGate as well. And there are rules in place, firewall policies in place, that separates that network from the rest of my network. So, Data Bunny, what about how you're able to use BlueTeam tools on your infected machines? I've created rules where specific virtual machine, specific IP addresses on the server subnet can communicate back and forth between the infected subnet or vulnerable subnet, you want to call it, and back to the specific IPs. So this is how I'm able to use my BlueTeam tools to see the infected VMs on this machine. Of course, the VLANs are assigned on the switch here, and the FortiGate does all of the routing and things of that nature. Also, I have malicious IPs, which I can find on the internet or I discover. And what I do is I use a sinkhole. I create a sinkhole rule. So all malicious IPs that are reaching my FortiGate is being routed to the vulnerable network, but it's blocked from the rest of my network. So they can't touch anything else on my network but the VMs or the infected virtual subnet that's there. So this is how it's done. This is how I'm physically using it. I'm using the server here. Nothing else is turned on, and I just have to switch and the FortiGate 70F. This right here is actually gonna be like I don't know what I'm gonna use this for. Right now it's a NAS box, but it could be turned into, a proxy server. It can also be turned into a honeypot, but I'm probably gonna see if I can do a virtual honeypot, sit it on the server, and actually no, not sit on the server. I want to put the honeypot on this machine and have it bridged to the vulnerable network and see what it collects. And then I just use my Kali Linux or BlueTeam tools and machines to go ahead and see and access it and do whatever I need. So that's that. This is pretty much how I am segmenting that network from the rest of my network. Also, it doesn't have internet access. Well, it kind of does, but it only goes out to the internet to malicious IPs. So it doesn't go to like, what's funny is the VMs in the vulnerable network do not reach or go out to like Google's DNS server or, any youtube.com. It just goes out to other vulnerable IP addresses. That's all it does. So yeah, so this is the lab. Now let me go ahead and show you guys how the FortiGate is set up and how I created the sinkhole and whatnot. What's up, y'all? It's your boy Chris here, your one and only Data Bunny. This quick video, I am in the plan of creating a sinkhole, a honeypot, and proxy server. But I also have a storage server that I'm going to be doing in a more protected network. So for the sinkhole, however, you can do a static routes, I think, but I rather have rules in place here. But how I have it is I created two rules, front and back. So ingress, blocking the malicious IPs from the ingress, and also blocking malicious IPs from the egress. And this is going towards my protected LAN or my protected subnets. Next, I have the rule that is actually, and I actually got to check this. I didn't see that this was still here. I see something, there's some hit counts on it. But, oh yeah, this is allowing it internet access. I need to change this. Actually, no, I don't. So I will show you guys exactly what I'm doing here. So the vulnerable network to the BlueTeam. BlueTeam is like, there's appliances. So these are the appliances. These will be like BlueTeam appliances. So like PRTG, Nessus IP, the management subnet, the attack box IP address. The management subnet actually, I might want to change that to make it the vulnerable network subnet, but we'll go to that in a little bit. So I have it where it is accepting these connections. So the vulnerable network, which here I have, so on the left you have a Windows XP computer. So we go here. If I ping this IP address, not sure what it is, but let's say it was a malicious IP address. Okay, I can ping it from the Windows XP machine. So from that you can know that, okay, this machine is going over the internet. But if I try to ping Google, I can't. So I'm going to show you why. So here, this is my actual desktop that is sitting in the server network. If I try to ping the malicious IP, I cannot. So I've isolated malicious IP traffic only to go to the vulnerable network. Now, again, back to how I can ping the vulnerable IP address or the malicious IP address, right? But can't ping Google's DNS server. The reason why is because I have a rule in place that specifically says from the vulnerable network to the underlay, which is like the WAN. It's a SD-WAN interface. So from the vulnerable network to the internet, from the vulnerable network IP addresses and its destination malicious IPs. So it's going over the internet, but it's only going to the IP. So all the traffic is only going through the IPs that are malicious, and it's going back and forth. But what's going to happen is all the malicious IPs will not be able to reach my other networks that I have. So I guess you can call this sort of a sinkhole, and I'm going to actually I'm actually going to name that sinkhole. But this is it. So any type of IPs I flag as malicious, I just go online, I just look for malicious IPs and then just add them there. I will be able to do that, and everything will just go to this Windows XP machine. But it can't. The traffic literally cannot traverse anywhere else out to the network or anywhere else in my LAN, but back and forth from this virtual machine or the or the vulnerable network. So I could probably put 10 virtual machines in this vulnerable network, but they'll be able to communicate back and forth between the malicious IPs and the virtual machine. So that's that. That's pretty much it. I'm gonna look over these rules one more time and just make sure I got everything right. One other thing too, that traffic. So this vulnerable network traffic to the BlueTeam appliances will work. So I have an attack box on the server network, which it can reach. So it's like 71.12, right? So to prove that it actually works, if I, delete that, ping 192.168.71.12, it can reach it. So it can reach the server subnet, but only specific IP addresses. Like it can't go through everything. So if I do like a 13, it can reach that one. And reason why is 13 reachable? Because that's the Nessus appliance. Being able, I need that connection so that Nessus can see the vulnerable network and can do scans on that entire vulnerable subnet, and I can see vulnerabilities on it. The attack box, this is a jump box to the vulnerable network. I need that to communicate with it. This is the FortiGate. This is where I can see vulnerabilities on the actual FortiGate itself if I need to. And then there's like switches and switches and routers and pretty much switches on my actual physical lab that isn't up, but when I turn it up or whatnot, it can communicate with that. But I may want to tighten this rule down just a little bit more when it comes to the management subnet, because that management subnet, I might want to just take that and just call it FortiGate or something like that. And then we have like the Nessus the PRTG. So PRTG is up. So if I go back here, and I may want to move PRTG to a separate device. Right now is actually, I can ping it. So currently right now, what it's the 106, so the 71.106 is this entire machine that I am remoting into, which has like a bunch of other stuff on it. So that right there is a vulnerability. What I want to do is move PRTG to a separate virtual machine all by itself, so then I can isolate this entire machine from communicating with the vulnerable network as well. So that's what I'm going to do. All I have to do here in the PRTG access, just bring it up, and I just change the IP address, the IP and the net mask of it to the IP of the new PRTG server. So that's what I can do there. But yeah, that's my sinkhole. So, well, no, this is my sinkhole that I'm actually going to edit now. This was just controlling traffic between my BlueTeam appliances and the vulnerable network. Here, I'm just going to call this sinkhole because why not? All right, sinkhole. Okay, that's pretty much it. So I have the sinkhole in. I could set up a proxy server, have that set up in the server VLAN. That's going to be, this is something I could set up. What else did I say? I said some other things too. We got proxy server. We got the sinkhole in place, and there was two other things, but I have to look back on it. Yeah, I have a NAS that I'm spinning up in the server network here. It's a Raspberry Pi, and it has a hard drive attached to it. I already have the NAS appliance, like the NAS actual Debian package there. So all I have to do is just install that and get that up and running and have the web page up in there. So yeah, that's pretty much it. There's a lot of rules in here. Some of these rules I don't even need anymore. But yeah, I'm definitely going to tighten up this rule here. just because, there are other devices that sit on the management subnet that I kind of don't want in this rule. So what I'm most likely going to do is just create, I wonder, can I rename this? No, I can't rename it, but I'll keep it as it is, but then I'll just change this out and then create a different address with the name on it, create a different address and put that in there. Yeah, so that's it. All right, guys, so once I have all the rules and everything in place, so I did finalize the rules a little bit more on the firewall, but here is where I do the transferring of the files. So I do have a Windows XP machine here. I'm not sure if I'm going to be using it that much or not, but I created a copy of the, I guess you call it a Windows virtual machine where I can analyze and run viruses and whatnot. Malware is on here. However, when I go ahead and actually transfer and extract those files, I'm doing it from the Kali Linux machine. How I did this is by first creating a share. So the share is actually the entire documents folder of this machine. This is the machine where I'm going to do all analyzing and running malware on the machine. Here's where I'm just going to get the malware, the exe files from the internet using Kali Linux. And so how I would do it is once I have a piece of malware here, I will go here in the share folder. So I'm virtually inside of this virtual machine's storage account. So if you look here, we see like malware, process, explorer, strings. So if I click this off, right, and go back to this main one, see 60.3, that's the IP address of this machine. I'm able to pretty much access this entire folder, this entire computer's folders and whatnot. So again, I'm back in the malware folder, which is in here. You can see all of this malware here. And instead of extracting it from the Windows machine, I'm going to extract it from the Kali Linux machine. Click that. Then we're going to hit extract. Then we want to go to select the files. Yep, extract. Put the password in. Okay, extract done. And then you're going to see the file. There's an extra file here now. We have the C executable now. I can rename these so they're not super long. But now I can do this, right? So I can go and I can copy this malicious file, put it in the strings folder, right? I'm just going to paste it here. Go into the CLI, go here, directory, and I can go to documents, boom. All right, whoops, parameter incorrect format. Oh, whoops, CD, I don't know what I'm thinking. Change directory. Let's see. What is going on here? CD documents. Okay, I don't know what that was. Okay, so then we'll go here. We're going to see I'm doing this with one hand. So, all right. So now we have the malware folder. What we're going to do is go into the strings folder. So CD strings. All right, and then we're going to do again. We do a directory, and we're going to see that file there. So we want to do strings, right? Strings.exe, and then the virus name, like that. Boom. And then we get all the strings for the malicious software that is on it, right? The reason I had to do this is because being in the same directory as strings, so I can use the strings executable. And we can see all of this stuff. So once I'm done, I can save this to a file and look over it. Do what I need to do. I can also use a resource, resource hacker or something like that, and view more of it. But now what I can do is I can, look at the strings, and I can run the malicious software if I wanted to in a separate copy of this machine, this virtual machine per se. So that's that. So this is how I am doing the analyzing. This is on a completely different network than what is on the Kali Linux machine, but I have those firewall rules in place so that this .71.5 will be able to access this this virtual machine here. Now you're going to see this 71.106. I'm remote desktop into a server, which is running VirtualBox, which is also running two virtual machines, Windows XP and the Windows 11 attack box. And just to show you all the IP addresses, IP config. See, this is 60.3. So this is on a completely different network that's isolated from everything else, but two specific devices that are on the 71, the .71 network. So that's this is how I'm doing everything. So. All right, so I'm actually looking through the strings of this, and I actually saved to a file called malware02_strings, and some suspicious stuff, right? We have we can read some of this stuff, but we see SQL connection, right? SQL client. These are all the strings that is in this piece of malware. We can see it got some buttons, SQL command, SQL date adapter, the DB connection, so that's the database connection. So it looks like what it's trying to do, this piece of malware is trying to connect to a SQL database and do some things, some malicious activity on it. And this is pretty much what we would do, right? So what I would next do is, run it on the machine, right, and see what it actually does, see what services, it starts to create and whatnot. Let's see. Thought I saw some more SQL stuff. SQL parameter collection, add range, form 3, combo box 1, like I don't know, execute scaler, add cell count. So it's doing some stuff. Dictionary, number 2, whatever that is. So it's doing a lot of stuff and trying to make a SQL connection. So now we know, okay, this data, source desktop, SQL Express initial catalog, right? So this malware is doing some SQL work. Please enter all mandatory fields. See this? Insert into reg form. Full name, student ID, gender, city, phone number, enrolled courses. Right? Please select a gender. So this is, whatever it's doing, it's trying to do something. And what I'll do is I'll probably look and find out what this malware is actually trying to do. Online is some open source intelligence, but from here we can clearly see introduction to programming, basic web development, learn English grammar, creative writing basics. It's doing something. It's doing something. All right, enroll courses. Where a student successfully updated. Where a student. It's doing some crazy stuff. Please enter student ID for deletion. Delete from. It's deleting some stuff on. It's doing some stuff trying to do some work on the database. So it's accessing a table of some sort. So that's something we will look for. And yeah. So I'll pretty much just do that.